All right, Free Will and Franklin coming back at you here on Full Circle. And right now we're going to be speaking with Oscar Zarate. He's the Director of External Affairs for CHIRLA. And CHIRLA is the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. And it's a California-based nonprofit organization that advocates for the civil and human rights of immigrants and refugees. It was founded in 1986, and the organization empowers diverse immigrant families to participate in democracy, achieve full inclusion in society, and advocate for progressive policies. And this week, as the World Cup gets underway, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, CHIRLA, have issued a Know Your Right safety guide to know before you go and attend the World Cup games. As I mentioned, joining us to talk about this safety guidelines and a Know Before You Go campaign is Oscar Zarate, Director of External Affairs for CHIRLA. Welcome, Oscar. How you doing today?
Hey Frank, thanks for having me on. Pleasure.
And so, Oscar, we've seen the World Cup here in the United States already marred by excessive searches of teams, the detainment and questioning of an Iraqi soccer player. We've seen the Iranian team be forced to stay in Mexico and travel this demanding travel schedule to play their games. And we also saw the prominent African referee from Somalia be denied entry into the United States. And these are just some of the officials and players that have already experienced this harassment and outright denial of entry. But I got you here today to talk about the fans and what you all have prepared as a safety guide to quote unquote know before you go. Um, can you tell us before we get into the guidelines and the details on how people can be prepared? Um, and just tell us why Chirla and the other groups that you mentioned off the mic earlier thought you needed to create this safety guidelines. What's behind creating this guide for fans?
Absolutely. So yeah, as you mentioned, CHIRLA works with many partners under the LA Raids Rapid Response Network, which is a network that began in the Bush years back in 2000 to respond to immigration raids that were violating people's constitutional rights. And obviously last summer with the occupation that Los Angeles went through, the militarized occupation, the Raids Rapid Response Network was there to respond and to support families under a very difficult time. And we thought that obviously the FIFA World Cup games are a national security event. So DHS, ICE is involved in the security, in the safety and security of the event. And that has resulted in many community members, feeling scared with anxiety. I also want to note that a lot of these games attract street vendors who are immigrants and who are just trying to make an earnest day's worth of living. And we want these games to be what they've always been, global community, bringing people together, celebrating our diversity globally. And especially with these games being in North America, diverse, enjoying and recognizing the diversity that exists in the continent of America. So we created this guide so that folks can have a guidance as to how to keep themselves safe, but also resources so that if something were to happen, which we do not want to happen, but if something does happen, they know where to call. They know they have basic guidance they can follow so that they can keep themselves safe, but also get the resources that they need in that difficult time.
Yeah, thank you for thinking about the vendors because I feel like it's not really the experience if you go to the game and you don't smell those peppers and onions and bacon, hot dogs, and all that good stuff out there. Good idea. But let me get into some of the safety guidelines that people could practice to stay safe attending World Cup games as far as immigration enforcement goes. I believe there's five guidelines for folks to be prepared and stay safe and what to stay safe. And what I would ask you to do is to read through the five guidelines and then just elaborate on the couple that you feel is most important. Oscar, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So the guidelines are one, a reminder that everyone in the US has constitutional rights, regardless of immigration status. And that's so important to know because nowadays we have a federal administration that wants people to believe they're second class people and citizens here in this country. That is not true. Everybody has the same rights under the Constitution. Secondly, you have the right to remain silent, right? Agents want to confuse people and sometimes use trickery. It's always important to know that you have the right to remain silent. You do not have to answer questions about your immigration status, right? And if you are approached, it's always good to remember that you can always ask, am I free to leave? And if the answer is yes, you can always calmly walk away. The last two things is you always have the right to speak to an attorney and a lawyer. You always have that right. And it's also important to know, especially for our monolingual community members that maybe don't uh, speak English or read English, it's always important to know that you do not have to sign documents you do not understand, right? And I think what I want to highlight above all is if you are going to watch the games or if you're going to a FIFA watch party, we recommend that you have an emergency plan, right? And sometimes people forget about that, right? An emergency plan where you have all your important phone numbers saved and ready to go, especially having them outside of your phone. I'm a millennial Gen Z kind of in there. And I'll be honest, the only phone number that I remember is my home phone number. The others I don't have as much remember, but it's important to have them outside your phone because sometimes you won't have access to your phone, right? Share your plans with someone you trust so that they know your numbers as well or anything else that's important. Choose a meeting place, right? In case your group separates, which can happen, and especially in these very densely populated events, right? And if you have children or people that depend on you, having a plan for them as well. But over everything else, staying calm and knowing who to call if you need help. Your personal contacts, but we also have the rapid response networks, phone numbers, which I do you mind if I share, Frank, what those numbers are?
Yeah, let's get into that last part because, as you said, we hope everyone remains and stays safe, but there is a possibility that someone may encounter immigration enforcement and may become detained. So, what would someone do if they witness someone be detained or if they are detained themselves?
Absolutely. So we have phone numbers for people to call if they see somebody getting detained, or if or if they get detained and their family members can call for them. We have one number for all of LA County, which includes all the city of LA districts: San Fernando Valley, San Gabriel Valley, Antelope Valley, which is 888-624-4752. We also have a phone numbers focused on Boyle Heights in East LA, which is 323-805-1049. And we also have a phone number for folks in the city of Long Beach and in the South Bay, which is 562-245-9575. But the LA County number, that 888-624-4752 number, that covers everything, But if you live in these particular specific areas, we have phone numbers for you. And once you call the line, you can report an incident that you see so that we can activate our volunteers to document. But also, if you're needing of legal services, you can also call that number.
And in case people didn't get a chance to write down those phone numbers, I know it's not always that easy when you hear it. Where can people find the Know Your Rights guide and the Know Your Rights information online so they could take a more thorough and detailed look and be fully prepared to be out in the environment of the World Cup games?
Yes, we have all this information available on our website, chirla.org. That's CHIRLA.org. And you can, and we have a section called Know Before You Go, where we have these flyers available with all the phone numbers there.
Thank you, Oscar Zarate, and he is I think it's the executive director of
D- d-
communications, or what is
Director of
it?
External Affairs.
Director of External Affairs for CHIRLA, and that is the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. And we saw another event that is getting put on by CHIRLA. Before I officially let you go here, Oscar, I'd like to um, I'd like to get your real quick story on what's about to happen on Monday, June 15th, as you all mark 14 years of DACA and the ongoing fight for permanent protections. So, can you talk real quick about what is happening? It's going to be Monday, June 15th, but also tell us about this attack that we are seeing on DACA recipients here in the United States by the Trump administration.
Thank you for the question, Frank. DACA, for folks who may not know, is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It was a program made through executive order by President Obama, and it provided deferred action on for immigrants that came when they were children, right, 3 years old, who know no other country but this country of the United States, and have by all means are the United States people because that's all they know. They grew up in this country, they grew up in the community, and it also provided a work permit, which really provided a pathway for people to have careers, to grow families, to establish their roots. Unfortunately, this federal administration is attacking this program. They've detained and deported multiple DACA recipients despite of their protections, and they've slowed down the renewal process. So there have been significant delays in renewals, leading to many DACA recipients losing their jobs and losing their income. On Monday, the 15th, it's the anniversary, it's the 14th anniversary since this program was created back in 2013, 2012. And we're marking it by having a dinner where we're bringing 14 DACA recipients to talk about what is the experience under this political climate, and to build community, because that's the most important thing that we can build this time of great fear, of great uncertainty, is community within ourselves. And yeah, and that's what we're doing on the 15th, and more to come, because I think this program is so vital and so important and has created many lives. And it's really sad to see it, how it's being attacked and destroyed under this current administration.
And where can folks get more information about the DACA event?
The doc event, well, the doc event, it's not for the public, but we've invited 14 specific DACA recipients to come, but we will be having videos and photos that people can see on our website, and also it'll be covered by media as well. But if you're a DACA recipient out there listening to this and you want to get plugged in, call CHIRLA, right? We are organizing, we are bringing people together, and we will have more events in the future for DACA recipients who want, not just obviously want to get plugged in and organized, but also need legal services and so forth, because I know that's something that's high in need right now.
And what's the best way to reach out to CHIRLA overall?
The best way to hang out, reach out to CHIRLA, you can hit us up on our Instagram, CHIRLA / org on Instagram. You can also call us. You can actually use the 888 number too, 888-624-4752. You can call us there and get connected to us. And yeah, those are probably the best ways to get plugged in. But be on the lookout, follow our Instagram, because we do post events there, and we want to have everybody involved as much as we can.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That's the voice of Oscar Zarate. He's the Director of External Affairs for CHIRLA, and that is the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. Thank you again, Oscar, for all your work and for all the work that CHIRLA does out there. And for folks here in the Bay Area on the radio, I will update us with the local hotline numbers to call in case of ICE enforcement. Thank you again,
Thank you,
Oscar.
Frank. Thank you, Frank. Thank you so much.
You have a good day.
You too.